Hi, my name's Sian. I run a company called Happiness Training, and I'm making this video just to kind of explain a training course that I put together that I use a lot for my clients in the work that I do, both in terms of mental health trainer and as an ADHD coach. It's important to say that when I'm working on a one-on-one or even in a group situation, I don't use this course and teach it as per, but I use elements of it. And for that reason, because a lot of the things that I use and have written in this course keep coming up, and people tell me how interesting and useful they find it, I've bitten the bullet. I'm not a techie person. I'm not very comfortable doing this online, but I am just putting this course up there in the hope that it will be useful for with my current clients, past clients, and also anybody else that might be interested. So I want to give a little bit of an overview of where it's come from and what it is and what it aims to do in this video. So just to kind of, my story, if you like, is when I first started to struggle with my mental health. It's an area of special interest for me, is mental health and well-being and how to get better and all of those things. I had no idea at the time that one of the main reasons I was struggling so much is because I was living with undiagnosed ADHD. And I had no idea that my special interest turned out to be a bit of a superpower, in the sense that I became slightly obsessed, and I read so many books and attended so many courses and really became both interested, and because I have a neurodiverse brain, I made a lot of different connections to things. And over the years of attending courses and running courses and doing this work in mental health, I sort of evolved a bit of a system. And then in 2019, I was keeping it very much in my head. I just took the time, and it took 2018, 2019, about a year really, to sort of manage to corral all these ideas that I was using in quite an informal way into a more structured system that I could explain to others. And that's what this course is. So I'm hoping now, so as I say, I'm not that techie, that I will be able to show you an overview of the course here, and it will come through on the video. So hopefully you can see this. The name of the course is Continuous Directed Change. And the reason for that is because my thing is that there are no overnight miracles. You know, I wish there was. I wish we could wave a magic wand and everything would be sorted straight away, but that isn't what happens in the real world. And it's a long-term way of thinking. And the idea why it's called directed change is inevitable. We all are changing. The world is changing all the time. What we're trying to do here is choose the direction in which we're changing. Again, when I first started to pull this together, I really didn't know that what I was actually doing was trying to deal with my ADHD brain. And the principle really of a course like this is incredibly simple. It is that if we can do the things that I found so difficult, because I've got ADHD and for other reasons, low self-esteem and all of those things, but the simple stuff, being able to eat right. So if we look in this bit, hopefully you can see this, in the middle here are all the things that the good mental health practices. In a way, lots of us know. We all know in an ideal world that we should eat well, we should exercise, we should get good sleep, we should do relaxation, manage our feelings, manage our thoughts, and some of these other things we may not be so familiar with, but there's a lot of good scientific evidence that if we practice gratitude and forgiveness, develop healthy relationships, look after ourselves, then we can be mentally well. And obviously, if we can do all of these things, that isn't a magic pill that fixes our ADHD or our mental health, but it does make life significantly easier. And that's all very well, but sometimes we get sort of sidetracked and find these things difficult. And I've studied quite a lot around neuroscience and neurobiology and a lot of that kind of thing, and sort of pulled together these very simple simple doesn't always mean easy, techniques that help us to actually do the things we want to do. And a lot of it involves kind of catching unhelpful thoughts and changing behaviors slowly, slowly in the long term. So if I go over the sort of nature of this kind of outside bit, I'm hoping you can see my little arrow going around. So there's an outside bit. I can show people, you know, there's an arrow going around here. So we've got relaxation and grounding. That's the first thing. And the reason that's first is because a lot of us with ADHD find relaxation very hard, but it is incredibly important. And what we're trying to do is just take 5 minutes so that when we are thinking about what it is we want to change or what it is we want to do, it's coming from a place where we are kind of being as wise as possible. And we're not people pleasing or doing it for someone else, but we're doing it because it's the right thing for us. And it also helps us to be more realistic. One of the things I think with ADHD and other things is we want to do absolutely everything all at once. So relaxing, just taking 5 minutes before we start can be really helpful. Then we move on to goal setting, and the purpose of goal setting is quite obvious. It's about taking time to go, okay, rather than this kind of very nebulous, oh, I want to improve my diet. Well, what does that look like? You know, we get practical and real about that. Now, a lot of this, the deliberate visualizations and affirmations, this is the neuroscience bit. It may sound a little bit hippy-dippy or Californian, but it is very much based in robust science, really, that shows us how our neurobiology influences our habitual thinking styles. And the two tools that are incredibly useful for changing that are visualizations and affirmations. And they also provide a lot of other things. So when we get fed up and run down, as we can often do, or our thinking is negative, a visualization and affirmation makes it simple and gives us something to do to help us to get our thinking and then our behavior and our thoughts back in a direction that we would like it to be going in. Baby steps, I'm aware now that maybe I presume it's coming up the same for the video as it is for me. You can't see the bottom bit, but it says here baby steps, and the idea of that is like, if you've ever seen a picture of a ladder, you know, if the rungs are 6 foot apart, you can't climb it. If they're kind of half a foot or 1 foot apart, you can climb it quite easily. So it's breaking things down into achievable steps. A bit at the bottom here that you can't see says praise and gratitude. And the reason for that is a lot of us, we get into very negative thinking styles, and we end up being much tougher on ourselves in our own minds than we would ever be to someone else. So part of the course looks at how can we change that way of thinking? How can we be kinder? That doesn't mean going around going, oh, everything you do is amazing. It's just learning to speak to ourselves with the same kind of support and respect as we would another, you know, your best friend or someone else you care about. Rewards, like a lot of this, a lot of what we do here is to help us get what so many of us with ADHD lack, dopamine. So all of these things, the baby steps, the praise, the gratitude, the rewards, help to increase the dopamine, help to give us the driver, give us the little wins that we need to keep going, to keep motivating ourselves. And adapt and repeat, so important, because so often, you know, it's very easy for things to kind of, it's very important that we have a progress review. I'm not going to lie now, I noticed that my lovely daughter did this, and the progress review is in the wrong place. Progress review is over here. So we have rewards, and then we have a progress review. And that's important, because what that means then is that we go, well, a lot of the time when we set out to do these things, set out to eat a little bit better or get to bed on time or challenge our negative thinking, we start out with the best of intentions, and then something goes wrong, because life happens. It happens to everybody, but particularly those of us with ADHD. And then it all falls off the wayside and we just lose motivation. So one of the key elements of what this course helps us to do, or this training helps us to do, is carry on, because success lies in not perfection, but perseverance. So this idea that we will make mistakes. So we review it, we go, well, you know, why has something not worked? Or if it has worked, great. What is it that is working about it? Let's carry on doing that. But if it hasn't, what's that about? To get curious about that. Is that because we set ourselves out to do too much? Is it because you never even want to do it in the first place? It was actually a bit of an act of people pleasing. Is it because other things got in the way? And it allows us to look at it, make a new plan, and then we adapt and we repeat, and so on. The idea of this, as I say, it's not a quick fix. It's a long-term set of tools that ideally are complementary with lots of other forms of therapy, different forms of thinking, and your life in general, that can help us develop a healthy platform, because life is a lot easier if we have these good, healthy habits. So there we are. I'm hoping that I will stop my share now. There we go. I hope that gives a bit of an overview. And you might want to have a look at the rest of the course and go back to the screen sharing to show you again. I make no apologies for the fact that I'm not techie. I'm just hoping that it comes across well enough for you to understand it. This is not meant to be a brilliant technical thing, but just to show you, you know, each little video I'm going to do will be helpful as a separate thing. So I'm going to do a bit on relaxation, there's a bit on goal setting, there's a bit on visualizations and affirmations. Any one of these are useful on their own, but I wanted to show you how there is method in the madness. It all fits together to kind of set up a way of thinking and behaving and exercises and all sorts of stuff that can be very helpful. There we are. I'll stop the share and I'll stop the video. All the best then. Thanks. And all my contact details and all the rest will be in the information down below. Please subscribe, get in touch if you feel that you would like any mental health training or coaching or any of those things. Thanks then. Bye.